Welcome. This is a beautiful Monday. I'm hoping it is just as beautiful for you. Yes, especially this topic, it brings me to the fact that for you it might not be such a beautiful Monday, because maybe Mondays you used to dread going to work. It used to be like the blue Monday, as we know, the grind and the grill of going to work on a Monday. So today I am actually going to be addressing exactly that topic of why others, the Monday is not the same as it used to be. And the topic today is retrenchment or job loss. So as I'm on that, if you want to hear other topics, please in the comment section just be clicking and say what do you want us to address, and maybe if there are other topics that we might have addressed, you might want to subscribe to our channel so that you get the updates, and also so that you can see what we have addressed previously. So maybe what you are commenting about might be something that we have already covered. But if we have not covered that and it's related to psychology, be sure that Pretoria Psychologists will cover that. So this is our Monday, Re Tsene with Pretoria Psychologists. And for those who are here with us for the first time, you are very much welcome. So today I am talking about this with a very heavy heart, and that is job loss, loss of income, retrenchments. Because of the crisis of the pandemic, it was inevitable that other employees or workplaces or corporates will not be able to carry on with their staff complement because of the financial losses that they might have made, because of the profit that were supposed to happen when people are still economically active. But because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic, then it forced many places, the entertainment industry, I can name it, the list goes on and on and on. The aviation industry, the entertainment, as I have already said, the hospitality, the tourism, the design space, the television space. So there's many sectors that have been affected, and that is why I'm saying I am coming to you and presenting this topic with a heavy heart, because for me it also is close to home, because there are a couple of my family members that are finding themselves in that same spot where a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, 4 months later into the COVID-19, they are getting letters of retrenchment and being laid off and being cut, and also their income not being what they are used to. So how I want to address it is that whatever feelings you have been feeling, be it the feeling of anxiety, of panic, especially when you know that your industry was not doing very well, they are all normal feelings of, not sleeping, having insomnia, not being able to eat, worrying about what is going to happen tomorrow, worrying about your own career, thinking, am I supposed to change careers? Am I in the right career? And all of that, anything that have been going through your mind, all of that has been quite normal given the circumstances. So now I want to take you to a process of grief, because losing an income, job loss, and being retrenched, it's similar to grieving a loss of a loved one or something that you loved. Because for most of us, work actually is something that gives us a lot of meaning. It actually gives us who we are. It identifies us. That's actually our identity, because we spend most of our awake hours in the work atmosphere, in the work environment, with colleagues, being challenged, and so on. So our thinking capacity and our input, it's actually something that we hold closely to think that that is who we are. And sometimes when we have lost a loved one, we go through emotions of being numb, being shocked, being angry. We are numb to say, is this really happening to me? I thought it was happening in that industry. I thought it can only happen to people who are not skilled, or who did not go to school, or who are working in this sector and that sector. So that is the shock and the numbness of actually absorbing those emotions to say, did it really happen? Is that real? Angry angry at yourself, angry at God, angry at the pandemic itself, angry at the government for implementing lockdown, angry at your industry for not putting maybe measures around to protect your job, to make sure that there's job security. So you could be angry at many things, and usually then we move on to bargaining stage. And in the bargaining stage, we will make promises to say, God, if I can get my job back, I will give my life to you, or I will give my tithes, or I will give to the poor, or I will do this and that, or take care of my family better, I will take care of my job better. Maybe I will not even complain about Mondays anymore. So you're making all these bargains to just want to get your job back. And when we see that that is not happening, that's when most of people, they go into a depressive state. And the depressive state is marked with withdrawal, isolation, not wanting to be with other people, losing interest in things that used to give you pleasure. You have lost, being with company. Some people, they might eat a lot. Some, they might eat less. They might lose appetite. Some people might sleep a lot. Some people might lose sleep. So all of these things that you find you are unable to concentrate, you are forgetful, all of these are normal. They are in line with somebody who has lost something. That is the depressive state. And once we have worked our emotions through that depressive state, we find ourselves accepting what has happened. We find ourselves even sometimes moving on. But because I have said this in a linear way, it doesn't mean that just because I'm depressed today and next week I'm expected to accept, and the other week I'm expected to move on. It might be that I go back to being angry. It might be that I go back to being shocked because maybe I'm thinking, but this industry has got so much money. Why didn't they save? Why didn't they do this? So you even go back to bargaining. So it might be that, one day you are in this stage, another day you are in this stage, or even all of these days you are in different stage at the same time. So all of that is normal, in keeping with having lost something. And I want to encourage you to seek help when you find that you are unable to cope. You start to become aggravated, you start to be irritable with the members of your family, of your community, where you are supposed to have them as your support, and maybe they are not understanding because of the pressure, the financial pressure. Especially if you were a breadwinner, the financial pressure can be just too much for you to handle them by yourself, especially if you are in an environment that is not understanding, that is not supportive to you. And in coping with that, I want to challenge you, and I think there's many speakers who have spoken about the fact that crisis is the master of all invention, or that in our crisis we can become creative. And I found it to be true for myself. Yes, it might not be true for you because of where you are emotionally, and I completely understand, I empathize with that. But I know that whenever we are in crisis, there is a way in which we think that we will not have thought about if we were in a comfortable situation. I want you to think about if your cupboards are empty, for example. Most of the time when you are unable to go to the stores or go buy certain ingredients, that's when you become creative about a certain meal that it will have come out this way should you have had all the ingredients with you. But because you don't have all the ingredients with you, you mix up things, and it's something that becomes new. It's something that becomes novel. It's an invention, to say the least, of what could have traditionally been something else, and now it becomes this lovely dish that will not have been should there not be a so-called crisis of not having ingredients that are in keeping with your recipe. So that is what I want to challenge you to become innovative, to look at your skills, to look at the industry. Maybe your skills, you thought that they belong to this one industry, only to find that they are actually cross-industrial. You know, myself, I love teaching. I love the classroom. I love interacting with people. And, you know, for me, the crisis has made me to actually think about a platform like this where I can be in the classroom across the world instead of waiting to be invited into many classrooms across the world, which, yes, I will still do across the world. But in this way, I have thought of how can I reinvent myself and use the skills that I have of teaching, of bringing complicated or complex psychological terms into day-to-day people's experiences in the way that they will understand, to say, oh, this is actually psychology. This is how we can be able to help, to be helped to be mentally well. And with that, I want to end it off with a case study of someone that I know who's actually somebody who is a mastermind behind these videos, behind directing and producing and creativity around these videos, who in their own industry was met with a crisis of losing a job. But instead of sitting there and moping, they became creative and say, what skills do I have? Combining them with business skills. Therefore, I can, with what I called my side gig, or you know, my side hustle, actually make it to be a main hustle and make it more serious. So you might be thinking of things that for you at work, you were unable to do them, you were unable to get them to take off, but in this time, this might be the opportunity to go back to the drawing board and look at those skills and say, how can I apply them differently from the workspace that I've been in? So with that, I want to invite you to say, please give us your comments, give us your suggestion in terms of how you have been able to cope with this. And as I said, I completely understand if you're still in a depressive state where maybe you are even suicidal because there's no bread, you know, you don't have enough savings that you had, and the savings now are running out since post retrenchment or post job loss or post income loss. So please share with us a community here to say, how have you been able to tackle all of those? Until next Monday, see you then, and keep well, and let this be another good scuffing for you to take. As I say, Re Tsene, Monday Nuggets with Pretoria Psychologists. Bye.